Good morning. It's 6:45. A little bit of a sleep in this morning. Blood sugar is 137. Still working on not eating as late, so that eating dinner as late, so that the long acting is enough to keep me low for, or a good number for all night. And my daughter is still asleep, and her blood sugar is 116. But her alarm is going off, a low insulin alert, 9 units left. So that'll get us through breakfast and beyond, and then it's time for a site change, I suppose. A few hours early though, because we went through so much insulin the last 24 hours with her. She seems to be totally fine, but she must be like battling some kind of cold or sickness, because it is so hard to keep her under 200 with the usual carb counting and level of exercise. Nothing weird was happening, but she's just like, I'd pre-bolus her, and we're waiting for it to drop, and it's like, oh, finally, 160, arrow straight down. I'm like, okay, eat your lunch. And then like, boom, 220, you're like, what? So definitely something unusual happening. But I'm out on the deck here. I have my coffee with whipping cream in it, because whipping cream has 0 carbs. And I was already into that back when I was doing keto to try and keep my blood sugar in check. Turned out that was not enough, and I was diagnosed with type 1. But anyhow, I'm used to the super rich taste because of that, and might as well do the 0 carb thing, right? I know caffeine still does seem to make it rise a little bit, but so far I've been okay with that, and I'm about to go to an hour of Pilates class at the YMCA, so it'll be okay if I'm just slightly elevated. I won't eat anything before that. I don't usually, and then also it's just easier not to have tons of insulin on board, and Pilates does not seem to have a drastic effect on blood sugar, but still, I don't want any surprises. So that's the morning so far. Okay, so I'm back from Pilates. As you can see from my little line there, not a whole lot changed. 136 right now. So my daughter had to wait till I got home before she had any breakfast. I said she could have a meat stick to hold her over. But then we did her classically awesome eggs on toast with cheese and green chili. So this is just Hannaford brand wheat bread. It has that nice soft texture still. It's not all seedy. So my daughter, being 6, enjoys that. Then we have farm fresh eggs from our chickens and a little sprinkle of like shredded cheddar cheese. And then she loves, where's your green chili, honey? Oh, still on the table. She puts a little bit of this Herdez roasted salsa verde green chili. Before she was born, we lived in New Mexico for a while, and somehow, hey, stop shaking me, honey. Somehow it came through. It has only 2 grams of carbs per 2 tablespoons. So that's fine. What you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Okay, instead of like shaking me and trying to get me with a wiffle bat. Okay, then she's having an extremely special treat today. Her older brothers and dad came home with
whoopie pie.
Some whoopie pie. They got it as a reward for working with dad. Lena would love to work with dad. And so we decided to weigh it out. Google said that a 30-gram bite was about 17 carbs. So I weighed it, I put it in a little bowl. Woo! Oh, almost dumped it on the floor.
No.
And we recently discovered 0 sugar Ready Whip. I gotta say, I was not someone who used a lot of processed food before diabetes impacted our life, but now I am so grateful for the processed food things. So that's what she's eating today. Her blood sugar is currently 180. So we set a timer for 15 minutes before we get into that whoopie pie. she's fighting a cold or something. So even though she doesn't seem sick at all, we're trying to be extra careful with her blood sugar. Then I had some of the leftover eggs and cheese on these little Norwegian crisp bread. They're gluten-free, they're high in fiber. I think they're yummy. I've been gluten-free for a long time, so I have, I'm easily impressed, let's just say. So I put that, this is gonna sound weird, but hey, just day in the life here. One of those crackers, a little bit of mayonnaise because it's very dry, some sliced onion, and then the eggs and cheese, salt and pepper. It was delish, okay? You had your eggs and toast, I had mine version, and that's what we find.
And I'm waiting a full 15 minutes for that whoopie pie.
Well, no, there's 8 minutes left on the timer. Well, okay, and then inspired by the whoopie pie, I was like, well, I feel like having something a little sweet too. Purely Elizabeth coconut cashew granola has 8 grams of carbs, 2 grams of those are fiber in a little 1/3 cup. And so I just put that in my little mug, and you're probably going to think this is totally weird, but like I told you earlier, I'm used to having whipping cream in my coffee. Well, I discovered that you can water down whipping cream a little bit, and it's like milk in this little granola serving. And so then I avoid the carbs of milk. To me, it's just as tasty. Some of the children are into it, some aren't. Every once in a while I've run out of milk and I'm like, well, just do this in your cereal. And some of your brothers think I'm crazy, and some of them wouldn't notice. So that is kind of breakfast and snack
and
combined.
Brown hair too.
It's 10:45 a.m. It's a rainy day, and that's the latest. Okay, so it's 4 p.m. and I'm making my lunch. So much for a full day vlog here of meals. It would help if I ate regular meals. What happened was things got really crazy with my schedule with some unexpected events. I did things like ate a spoon of peanut butter, grabbed some sliced pepper jack cheese that I had in the fridge. And my daughter, I ended up buying her a Dairy Queen original cheeseburger, which this is kind of interesting. I learned this from somebody else on YouTube. For, those high fat, high protein meals and carbs and a decent amount of carbs, how hard they are to treat. Well, what I found out from somebody else on YouTube, I forget his name, or I give him credit, was you can take the protein, multiply it by 0.6, so you're getting just a little more than half of that number, add it to the carbs, then divide that in half and separate the 2 doses. So when I did that for the cheeseburger, just using Google, it was 37 grams of carbs and 17, I believe, of protein. Did I reverse those? No, I think that's right. And so it came out to 54. So I divided that in half, 27 each. I gave her 27 as a pre-bolus, 27 grams. And then I set a little timer on my Fitbit so it buzzes on my wrist, or sometimes on my phone. For 45 minutes or so from then, I look for her blood sugar to start rising again. And then I give her the other half, the other 27 grams. Now, she was also a little bit high at the time. I had to change her site. That was part of the running around earlier. She wears a Tandem. She's on the Tandem T-Slim X2. And so we quick changed her site, but I think it had been failing because she was just kind of staying a little high. Plus, like I told you, I think she's fighting a cold or something. So thankfully, she was distracted by watching a video on the tablet in the car, because 15 minutes pre-bolus did not cut it. She had to wait 30 minutes because she was already really high. She needed the correction to catch up and that half dose. Anyway, she finally got to eat her burger, and now I'm saying this and I forgot to set a timer. So I'm going to set that about 30 minutes on my watch to check her again. And then I am just now making myself just a lunch meat sandwich. I'm gluten-free too. I'm just gluten sensitive. I I'd already been off gluten for a year before I learned that they can't test for celiac if you haven't been eating regular gluten. I think the equivalent of, I heard like, was it 1 piece of bread or 2 a day for many weeks before they can get a good celiac test. So I've never done that, but I'm just off gluten for my thyroid anyway, Hashimoto's. So all that said and done, I'm so excited to have some of my gluten-free bread on a sandwich, because for a year I pretty much had no bread because I was trying to manage my blood sugar by like keto diet and exercise, which failed obviously because I don't have type 2, I have type 1. So that's the lunch readout. My blood sugar is 117. Lena's is, I have her on the sugar pixel. She's 100 right now. It's a gold medal. So she's actually, see, this is where it's so good that I gave her half dose, because if I had waited for her blood sugar to go down and then gave her that full dose, she'd be, you know, dropping like a rock right now, because of that fat and protein slowing everything down in the burger. So that's the lunchtime report. Let's see. Otherwise, activity, you know, a lot of times for a day in the life video, I would be talking about the trampoline, and for Lena at least, running around and our level of activity. But because it's a rainy, windy, gooky day out there, we haven't had too much to say with activity. In fact, that's probably another reason why she was slightly high. But I met with my endocrinologist virtually with Blue Circle Health today. By the way, Blue Circle Health is amazing and free if you have type 1 and are in a state that they cover. I just love them so much. They've helped me so much. And anyway, we talked about just upping my Lantus dose slightly. I'm on MDI because I'm newly diagnosed, and I may honestly be one of those crazy people that stays on MDI. We'll see. But that's the very late lunchtime report. Okay, so it's the next morning. Let me do a little recap on dinner. The super late lunch, of course, made dinner crazy. It was, you know, 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:30. I'm putting food out. But, you know, I put out vegetables and hummus, and this is like something I learned from a French parenting book that I read. It was a lot of fun to read, but this was the single thing I learned, and that was put out vegetables first. Whatever vegetable you might serve with a dinner or lunch, you just put that out first. And of course, the easiest thing for me is something like vegetables and hummus or ranch. I get those mini cucumbers, and my children will just dip that whole thing and chop down. So I also sliced up some peppers, and I love it. Of course, diabetes wise, you can get away with, you know, maybe 5 gram or tiny correction later or something, but that has very little impact. So that was good. Then I made some air popped popcorn. They were watching a movie, and that's a good like diabetes snack. It's 6 grams per cup, and I put butter and nutritional yeast on it. They call it cheese, but it just adds an interesting flavor and a little bit of a healthy thing, and salt, of course, on it. So anyway, I did that, and everybody was seeming fairly satisfied with that, and we were talking around the kitchen table. Well, I guess the boys ate some other stuff, my big boys. But then Lena was actually drifting off to sleep as we were in conversation. Well, then she wakes up hungry. You know, I thought she'd just fall asleep without needing a heavy meal, which of course we know is not great right before bed for a diabetic. Well, I made her a half sandwich. I had just given her a big correction too. And because like I've been saying, she's been running a little higher than usual with this cold going on. Then she decides she doesn't want the sandwich or like it. So of course I have a little, sorry, I'm going to come over here. I have a little mini fit, which I hide of, oh my gosh, she's about to go to bed. She needed food. I gave her food. Now she won't eat it. I already dosed her for it. What am I going to do? Give her candy before bed? You know, so I quietly had a little fit in the other room. And then I was like, eat as much as you can. Like if it has too much meat or cheese or something, take it out. But can you eat the bread? And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be feeding her apple juice through a straw in her sleep, you know, and all this. Well, I didn't need to have a fit because it all rounded out. The pump shut off at times and whatever, but she was able to maintain a green zone number. So that was the evening and night for her. I did okay, but I was like 137 as I was going to bed. And I'm MDI, you know, so I was trying to decide whether to do a small correction for that, but I don't have a junior pen yet, so I have to decide whether to give a whole unit. And I had just talked to my endo about increasing my Lantus from 18 units to 19. And I was like, well, I don't really want to, I'm not going to be able to tell how the Lantus is doing if I also give a correction that's going to be a pretty big correction for me. I know everybody has different numbers, but that would potentially make me go low and then the extra Lantus and blah, blah, blah. Well, wrong decision. Woke up, my fasting was 160. So I'm still, you know, I'm newly diagnosed and we're still just trying to figure this out. But that's the highest I've had in a long time. So eating late, very bad for me. And I just talked about this with a diabetes educator. And, you know, she's like, try to eat your meal 4 hours before you go to sleep. I'm like, gosh, I hardly even do that in the winter, let alone the summer. We're almost to the longest day of the year. And anyway, so I need to, even if I do something different for the rest of the family, Lena and I need to try to eat earlier. And maybe especially me, I don't know. I seem to be particularly sensitive to that. Plus, I'm not on a pump, so I can't make those minor corrections overnight are not happening. So that was the latest report. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting. But there really wasn't. Oh, I wanted to show a new snack I had today. Okay, just 1 minute, honey. I wouldn't go searching this out, but there's a gluten-free section, actually at Ocean State Job Lot. And here are these lovely these aren't macaroons. It just says coconut chews. And they're just 5 grams when you, there's 7 grams of carbs, but 2 of those are fiber in these little individually wrapped yummy things. So I thought that is kind of a nutritious sweet treat that's not too many carbs. Isn't that fun? And might as well tell you about breakfast. We made German pancakes, which are so nice because they still have a good amount of flour in them, but all of those eggs really help balance it out. Oh, you know what I always forget about is the milk. So it's 6 eggs, a cup of milk, and a cup of flour, a little salt, a little vanilla, cooked in butter in a 9x13 pan. And then Lena likes, you know, this is a good reminder to me to try, not give up and try different brands. So Lena likes this Vermont made sugar-free. Then I was at the store and they didn't have that brand. And so I bought Log Cabin sugar-free. She doesn't like it as much. So I'm using up, I bought her the Vermont made next time I saw it, and I'm using up the Log Cabin, right? All right, well, she wants something. That's the update. Bye.